So the question in that exchange was, what box do the Middle Easterners check? Oh, no idea. But of course, everyone knows the answer. If you want to get into a competitive school, the best bet for those Middle Easterners would be to identify as black.
Yeah, you heard that right, people. Tucker Carlson actually said with a straight face on his show that the obvious racial identity for getting into competitive schools for Middle Easterners is to check off the black box. And if that sounds completely bananas to you, that's because it is. Tucker is notoriously known for completely backwards takes on race and, frankly, just about everything else. And this latest statement is no different. Here, Tucker is likely referencing the latest fight in the Supreme Court over affirmative action. You know, that incredibly important set of procedures designed to stop institutions like universities from discriminating against you because of your race, ethnicity, and so on. Yeah, apparently Tucker isn't a fan and uses these statements to prove that affirmative action can be rigged in favor of people of color over the greater racial majority, white people. But Tucker isn't the only one that is less than thrilled about affirmative action, and unfortunately, it's coming from inside the House.
I didn't go to racially diverse schools, but there were educational benefits. And I'd like you to tell me expressly, when a parent sends a kid to college, that they don't necessarily send them there to have fun or feel good or anything like that. They send them there to learn physics or chemistry or whatever they're studying. So tell me what the educational benefits are.
Yup. That was Justice Clarence Thomas literally asking for clarification as to what educational benefits could possibly come from diversifying educational institutions, despite having that very thing explained to him literally 5 seconds prior by the North Carolina Solicitor General, Ryan Park.
Diversity of all kinds leads to, quote, a deeper and richer learning environment, leads to more creative thinking and exchange of ideas, and critically reduced bias between people of different backgrounds and not solely for racial backgrounds.
Apparently, conservative values come ahead of any perceived racism or prejudice for this justice. And during those same oral arguments a few days ago, during the challenge against the University of North Carolina's race-conscious admissions process, he said he doesn't have a clue what diversity means.
I've heard the word diversity quite a few times, and I don't have a clue what it means. It seems to mean everything for everyone.
Like, for real, he said this in front of people. All across the United States, race-neutral policies have been taking place, including in progressive states like California. The problem is race neutrality isn't a thing when racism is still systemic. But organizations like Students for Fair Admissions want race to be removed from admissions altogether, claiming they believe that racial classifications and preferences in college admissions are unfair, unnecessary, and unconstitutional. Yeah. What's most unfortunate about all of this is how different races and ethnicities are being literally pitted against each other in this battle. More Asian Americans, for example, are increasingly joining conservatives to remove affirmative action in school admissions, putting pressure on some in the community to publicly declare online they are not one of those people.
I attended Harvard twice for undergrad and for business school, and I fully support affirmative action and need to address this false narrative that Asians don't want affirmative action. I resent my race being hijacked to make a case for ending diversity. The Asian American admissions experience has been a primary focus of the current Supreme Court lawsuit, which I really resent because it's been orchestrated by Edward Bloom, a white man who has a track record of wanting to end diversity and inclusion in other areas of American life as well. The Harvard Asian American Association and the Asian Alumni Association are both pro-affirmative action. Harvard cannot create a campus that is diverse enough to fulfill its educational mission without considering race as just one factor among many factors. I mean, we've seen massive declines in minority admissions at universities when affirmative action is eliminated.
And that is super important to state because so many fought so hard to get us to the place where we are today. And so many people, like my own parents, have benefited greatly from affirmative action being implemented in 1961, giving people of color equal opportunities in universities all across the country.
This whole Kanye West interview with Tucker, again, you and I came from that place, and we know how those things go. It was a big interview. two parts, 2 full-hour parts, and we now find out there's some things that they edited in some, I guess some Jewish groups are upset with what was edited out. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I wouldn't interview Kanye West for 2 minutes. I don't. Why do we want to interview Kanye West? I mean, he's an entertainer.
Well, hold on.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and Fox News original creep Bill O'Reilly is here on Newsmax giving no cares about Kanye West.
At the time, Kanye, African American, comes out saying some pretty conservative things. I'm not shocked that Tucker jumped on interviewing Kanye. I'm just shocked that they edited out some of the things that were nasty to make the interview look a little bit better for Kanye and, frankly, for Fox and Tucker.
Well, look, I don't know what happened. I know that it's extraordinary for anybody to sit there for more than 2 hours to do an interview. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know why that's necessary. I don't think Kanye West is a major news player in this country. I probably wouldn't have run the interview. I would have said, look, we had an interview with Mr. West, and he said anti-Semitic things, so I'm not going to run it. But I just want you to know the reason I'm not going to run it is this. But again, I wouldn't have interviewed him anyway. I don't care whether he's conservative, libertarian, socialist, Bernie Sanders' best friend. The man does not have the credibility, in my opinion, to take up time on a news program when we have a country that's fallen apart.
Now, it's not totally surprising that he's dismissive of Kanye West. O'Reilly made a career fear-mongering about black people. Also note that Kanye is African American, being used by the party of blaming identity politics on Democrats, just pulling full force behind Kanye West. And that's because it plays in their favor. They can proclaim they aren't racist because, look, they have a black guy on their show.
Look at my African American over here.
They can also claim they don't see the anti-Semitic comments because they just don't think Kanye means it that way.
Yeah, but Bill, here's a billionaire, an idol, a music idol. He's African American, and all of a sudden he says woke culture is ruining the country and pushes back against Democrats. I think there are a lot of conservatives who say, well, let's get this guy on. You know, he's on our side. Someone who they thought was on their side, he's on our side. It's typical, media warfare.
But I'd argue from this clip that Bill O'Reilly is more upset that Fox News hosted Kanye West than the actual substance of the interview. Shocking, I know. He's also missing the real irony of giving importance to an entertainer and someone who markets themselves constantly and not seeing Donald Trump as the exact same type of person. Donald Trump wasn't a politician either. He was a reality TV host and real estate guy. But he became relevant, unfortunately, in American politics, as have many celebrities who have expressed their support for Donald Trump. I wonder if Bill O'Reilly is upset that he's not on Fox News anymore. He mentions his old show a lot. Maybe he's really scared of losing relevance to Tucker Carlson. I bet that will tank his ego real quick.
Here's the mistake that everybody in cable news is making. Who cares if Kanye West is saying bad things about woke leftists? The people who care are conservative people. This is a man who makes his living marketing himself. That's what he does. In order to get on my show, all right, the highest rated cable show in history, you got to have more than that.
He's right about one thing. Fox News is not a news network. It's an entertainment channel, and they serve up that entertainment by means of a mentally unstable artist talking about how much he hates Jewish people, and I'll bet you that audience ate it up. O'Reilly can't help himself to not devolve into personal attacks on Kanye West. He mentions how he is dressed, and I think we all know why he would do that. He also mentions Kanye West not knowing who he was. Again, sounds like his feelings are a little hurt that he's not in the spotlight anymore. Remember, Bill O'Reilly lost his spot at Fox News after years of alleged sexual harassment claims that Fox News paid for, so he's casting stones at really fragile house there. Overall, you'd think he'd focus on the real conversation, would be around the fact that A, Kanye West is clearly mentally ill, and Fox News took full advantage of that, and B, the dude is anti-Semitic. The fact that we cannot agree to the simple fact after he said more than one thing about Jewish people is beyond me. We don't have the luxury of brushing this away. There has already been way too much politically and religious motivated violence in this country, and Fox News and OAN have no issues giving that rhetoric a platform. It seems like O'Reilly is just upset that he can't jump in on the chaos. There is no space for anti-Semitism in America. There is not room for it. There's no room for hatred. We are already topping out thanks to the rapidly deteriorating mindset of those in the MAGA cult. Those that call themselves news should be calling out anti-Semitism for exactly what it is. No questions asked and no making excuses for those who perpetuate that garbage. And that's a fact.